Совершенно свободные английские рабочие отправляли своих детей работать трубочистами. И вот эти вот трогательные, вот сейчас их там в английских сказках и мультфильмах, эти трогательные трубочисты, мальчики 8 и 10 лет, которых засовывали в каминную трубу и которые жили после этого очень недолго.
Мы говорим о разных вещах. Дело в том, что английский рабочий чувствовал себя гражданином Британии. Поэтому английские рабочие подали хартию в парламент. Они устраивали бунты и пугачевщины. Они себя чувствовали гражданами, пусть гражданами третьего сорта. Русский крепостной себя не чувствовал гражданином. Он не приносил присяги. Любой же англичанин приносил присягу королю. И рабочий тоже. Русские крепостные крестьяне после Елизаветы Петровны, которая приняла соответствующий указ, не приносили присяги при восшествии на престол царя. За это за них делал помещик.
Эрнест Абдурраимович, но ведь сам Крым, о котором мы сейчас говорим, разделен на две части, по крайней мере, так можно судить по СМИ. Это крымско-татарская часть населения Крыма и русскоязычная часть населения Крыма. Насколько четко происходит в самом Крыму вот это разделение?
Насколько четко? Ну, нам придется немножечко обратиться к истории. Потому что, во-первых, крымско-татарский народ – это коренной народ. Во-вторых, он репрессированный. То есть в 1944 году, в мае, там ни одного крымского татарина не осталось. Сталин решил вообще уничтожить крымских татар. Потому что это не раболепствующий народ. Он никогда не знал рабства. А Сталин привык управлять рабами. Ему поэтому очень нравились русские, бывшие рабы, потомственные рабы. Тысячелетнее рабство. Ничего тут не сделаешь. Вот. И поэтому крымских татар он депортировал с целью, чтобы больше о них никто ничего не знал. Ну вот, прошла революция в 90-х годах, и крымские татары, не дожидаясь реабилитации, ничего, повалили валом в Крым. И в конце концов, при страшном сопротивлении русскоязычного населения или большинства, даже тогда, когда Украина уже считала Крым своим, в Крыму русских было примерно 70%. Сейчас 58%. Это точная цифра. Вот. Крымских татар не было вообще. Сейчас 14% крымских татар. И вот это вот противостояние между крымскими татарами и русскими, оно вот с тех пор, вот как начали возвращаться крымские татары, им препятствовали.
You know what that is? Bullshit. It's much worse than that. All this talk about deflation is a scam. It's another slime ball scam by the slime ballers called the bankers, the federal bankers, the illegal group that's running the country. That's right, the Federal Reserve. Illegal? Well, Section 1, Paragraph 8, Clause 5 of the Constitution, which they ripped the shit out of a long time ago, along with the Bill of No Rights, says that Congress is the only one in control of the money, the supply and the printing of it. But no more, they gave that away to the bankers. So, they're hitting us with this deflation nonsense because they could keep interest rates low. That's their excuse. Inflation's under control, and we could pump a lot of cheap dough into the market because we don't have to wait for an inflationary cycle.
So what's happened is that because they've taught everybody that we're a democracy, which is not true, now, so then in 1913, they bring the Federal Reserve System into being, right? And now you have this Federal Reserve System, which then in 1913 got the right to create money for the government, when before that the government created its own money. Now the government, when it needed money, had to borrow it from this private bank called the Federal Reserve, which is a private bank owned by individuals, incorporated in Delaware. And so what happens is now the government borrows money from them to fund the government. Then the government says, well, we have to pay these people interest. How are we going to pay them interest? Let's impose a tax on the labor of the American people, which never existed before, to pay the interest to the bankers.
In fact, in 1980, Ronald Reagan said not one red cent of your income tax money goes to run the country, it all goes to the Federal Reserve.
Well, it was the Grace Commission report that said that not one nickel goes to the infrastructure of the country. You know.
I guess Reagan quoted that. Too.
Right, and so, but the point I'm trying to make is that by creating this Federal Reserve System, the government now became dependent on these private banks for money, and they started taxing us. You see, and so now what happens is that in 1935, I believe it was, Social Security started. And they gave Social Security cards, said not to be used for identification, the Social Security number right on the card, right? And through Social Security, they started deducting money out of your paycheck. That was the first time they were ever could take money out of your paycheck, because people agreed to it because they thought it was going to their retirement fund. And so then when they instituted the income tax again, they started taking money out of your paycheck because Social Security could do it. And then they could do it again. You see what I'm saying?
And so now they've even taken control of the tax payment itself. I mean, literally like you're a slave. They're
Right.
taking it right there when you make it.
Exactly.
They don't even trust the public enough to
Send them a check.
themselves, you know?
Right. So they take it out automatically because they know people aren't going to want to pay it. So what's happened is that through the implementation of the Federal Reserve System, the government has become vested in these bankers, and they get their money from the bankers. And so then they impose a tax on us, which makes us more slaves, makes it more difficult for us to survive, right? Giving them more profits. And now what's happened is that through the Federal Reserve System, the bankers have pretty much taken control of our government. It doesn't matter Republican and Democrat anymore, because they're both the same. Neither one of them are talking about shutting down the Federal Reserve System or stopping the payment of taxes, you know, or any of the big issues that face Americans, right? So, I had a friend, Nick Rockefeller, okay, who was one of the Rockefeller family, and he, when I was running for governor in Nevada, he came to me, introduced himself to me through an attorney, and we became friends. We started talking about things, and I learned an awful lot from Mr. Rockefeller. And one of the things that we used to talk about was the ultimate plan of the banking industry, what they wanted to accomplish. And the goals of the banking industry, not just the Federal Reserve System, but the private banks in Germany and England, all over Italy, all over the world, they all work together. They're all central banks. And they're all part of the Communist Manifesto. You know, central banking is one of the major planks of the Communist Manifesto. We talk about America being a capitalistic country, but yet at the same time we have a central bank that plans everything for us, right? And the graduated income tax is another plank of the Communist Manifesto, right? So right there you have two major planks of the Communist Manifesto that have been brought in because of the Federal Reserve System, okay? So the ultimate goal that these people have in mind is the goal to create a one-world government run by the banking industry, run by the bankers, and they're doing it in sections. The European currency, the euro, and the European Constitution is one part of it. Now they're trying to do it in America with the North American Union, right? And they want to create a new currency called the Amero, right? And the whole agenda is to create a one-world government where everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them. All money is to be in those chips, right? There'll be no more cash. And this is giving me straight from Rockefeller himself. This is what they want to accomplish. And all money will be in your chips. And so instead of having cash, anytime you have money in your chip, they can take out whatever they want to take out whenever they want to. If they say you owe us this much money in taxes, they just deduct it out of your chip digitally.
Total control.
Total control. And if you're like me or you, and you're protesting what they're doing, they can just turn off your chip, and you have nothing. You can't buy food. You can't do anything. It's total control of the people.
And that chip's connected to a database that has your purchasing records, what you do, what
Everything,
you sell.
everything is in there, you know? And so they want a one world government controlled by them, everybody being chipped, all your money in those chips, and they control the chips, and they control people. And you become a slave. You become a serf to these people. That's their goal. That's their intention. Nick and I discussed many things. One of the things we discussed, what he brought up in conversation, was reducing world population, and felt that there were too many people in the world. In a way, I agree, there are too many people in the world, but I don't think I have the authority to say who's going to die and who's not going to die, you know. But they felt that they wanted to reduce world population, and he felt that it should be reduced by half. He even mentioned to me once they were having a real problem trying to solve the Israel-Palestinian problem. And he talked to me once about they were playing with the idea of bringing Israel to Arizona, you know, and taking all the people from Israel and giving everybody $1 million and setting up Israel in the state of Arizona.
Unbelievable.
Just to end that problem, because that's a problem that they're not in charge of, in a sense. They're not controlling that problem. They're very arrogant. They can do whatever they want to do. We've given these people the authority to create money out of thin air, and through that device, they control everything. And if you want to win the battle to stop that, you have to deny them the ability to create money. It's only because they can make money that they have all this power.
They literally have the money machines.
They have the money machines. They can print it. They can do whatever they want to do. They own everything.
Aaron, we take over pretty quick. If we were the guys that issued the money, everybody had to come give us real assets for the use of this money we just printed up.
You know, people you know, I tell people, you know, why in the world does the American government borrow money from the banks when they have the ability to create it themselves without borrowing it and paying interest on it? Why? And nobody can answer that question. Not one politician ever raises that. Why does the American government borrow money when they can create it without paying interest?
Well, we did create.
They need to be aware of the following reality. There are anywhere between 22 and 36 million slaves in the world today, and we're using that term, but we need to take just a moment to define what do we mean by that. We mean people treated as properties. Chattel slavery, that old term that we use, and we know in this country what that means, exerting power over someone and treating them like property. So when you control another human being, strip them of their rights, and exploit them for their labor, that's what we're talking about with modern-day slaves. Roughly 22 to 36 million, generating profits for their exploiters that exceed $150 billion per year. Put down the glass of wine and hear what I'm saying. We're in 2015, 150 years to the year after the 13th Amendment came into effect in this country, and we are still facing a scenario where there are hundreds of thousands of slaves in these borders. This work is not done, and much more resources, government attention, civil society attention, support for NGOs, and research needs to be done to eradicate slavery.
The whole agenda is to create a one-world government where everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them. All money is to be in those chips, right? There'll be no more cash. And this is getting me straight from Rockefeller himself. This is what they want to accomplish. And all money will be in your chips. And so instead of having cash, anytime you have money in your chip, they can take out whatever they want to take out whenever they want to. If they say you owe us this much money in taxes, they just deduct it out of your chip digitally.
Total control.
Total control. And if you're like me or you, and you're protesting what they're doing, they can just turn off your chip. And you have nothing. You can't buy food. You can't do anything. It's total control of the people.
And that chip's connected to a database that has your purchasing records, what you do, what
Everything.
you sell.
Everything is in there, you know? And so they want a one-world government controlled by them, everybody being chipped, all your money in those chips, and they control the chips, and they control people. And you become a slave. You become a serf to these people. That's their goal. That's their intention.